Hey everyone, welcome to this Zaabi Baloch official explainer. So today we're actually going to unlock some of the absolute most fascinating secrets of the physical world. We're diving into Class 9 chemistry, specifically Chapter 4, the structure of molecules. Now, if you've ever found yourself wondering how the universe builds, well, literally everything around us from invisible, microscopic pieces, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to take these complex atomic concepts and break them down into crystal clear, bite-sized pieces. By the end of this explainer, you'll have absolute mastery over the whole shebang.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We've got 1. Introduction to molecules, 2. The chemical bond, 3. Types of bonds, 4. Valency and the Octet Rule, and finally, 5. Important questions and summary.
Kicking things off with Section 1, Introduction to Molecules, the building blocks of matter. So I want you to just pause and look at the physical world around you for a second. The water you drink, the air you breathe, the screen you're literally looking at right now. What exactly makes up all this stuff? Well, to understand the macro world, we've got to zoom all the way down into the micro world. A molecule is formed when 2 or more atoms join together via chemical bonds. But here's the absolutely crucial part for your exam. A molecule is the smallest unit of matter that actually retains the substance's properties. Think of matter kind of like a set of those Russian nesting dolls. If you take a drop of water and just keep breaking it down into smaller and smaller pieces, the molecule is that final, smallest doll you can get to that still acts, behaves, and actually possesses the unique properties of water. If you try to break it apart any further into individual atoms, well, it's just not water anymore.
Let's move on and see how this builds in Section 2, the chemical bond, the glue of the universe. Okay, so what holds these molecules together? We just figured out that a molecule is a collection of atoms joined together. But how? What exactly is holding those atoms in place to form that ultimate Russian nesting doll we just talked about? Well, quite simply, a chemical bond is the specific force that joins atoms together to create a molecule. It's the ultimate microscopic glue. Atoms don't just, magically float next to each other. They're actively held together by the specific energetic force. Without chemical bonds, we wouldn't have molecules. And without molecules, we wouldn't have any of the complex matter in the universe. It's literally the fundamental force of chemical creation.
Moving right along to Section 3, Types of Bonds, how atoms connect.
And this brilliantly illustrates that this chemical glue isn't just some generic one-size-fits-all mechanism. Depending on which atoms are actually interacting, they use very different methods to stick together. We've got 2 primary types of bonds you definitely need to know: the Ionic Bond and the Covalent Bond. Now, notice the action verbs here. This is key. In an ionic bond, the atoms are actively transferring electrons from one to another. One gives, one takes. But over in a covalent bond, the atoms are sharing electrons. They're basically keeping the electrons between them, acting like a mutual bridge. Transferring versus sharing. Make sure you keep those 2 action verbs completely locked in your mind.
Let's look at how these bonds actually behave in the real world. Ionic bonds are transfers, usually formed between metals and nonmetals. A perfect, classic textbook example of this is sodium chloride, or NaCl. That's just regular table salt. The sodium transfers an electron straight over to the chlorine. Now look at the covalent bonds, the sharers. These usually form between nonmetals. Classic examples you'll see here are water, H2O, and methane, CH4. See, the hydrogen and oxygen in water don't transfer. They share their electrons to stay perfectly glued together.
All right, up next is Section 4, Valency and the Octet Rule, the rules of the game.
So we now completely understand the how of atomic bonding, right? They transfer or they share. But as focused learners, we really need to dig into the why. Why do atoms even bother bonding in the first place? Like, what's their underlying motivation? Well, first, we've got to define valency. Valency is the specific ability or capacity of one atom to form chemical bonds with other atoms. You can really just think of valency as an atom's bonding potential. It's basically the underlying rulebook that dictates exactly how many connections a specific atom can make when it's out there trying to build a molecule.
Just look at how perfectly mathematical nature can be. Here are 4 specific elemental valencies you absolutely 100% must memorize for your exam. Ready? Hydrogen has a bonding capacity of 1. Oxygen is 2. Nitrogen is 3, and carbon is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Honestly, it's incredibly elegant. Knowing the bonding capacity of these 4 specific elements is going to be a massive advantage for you in chemistry.
But the most crucial number in the microscopic world, it's 8. 8 is the ultimate magic goal. It is literally the driving force behind almost everything we've talked about so far. This is known as the Octet Rule. Atoms will actively gain, lose, or share electrons in order to complete exactly 8 electrons in their outermost shell. Why? Because having exactly 8 outer electrons makes an atom highly stable. This quest for ultimate stability is the grand motivation behind all of it. It's exactly why the transferring in ionic bonds and the sharing in covalent bonds even happens. The atoms are really just trying to hit that magic number 8 so they can finally relax and be stable.
And that brings us to Section 5, Important Questions and Summary for Exam Prep. Okay, we've deconstructed the concepts, and now it's time for some practical application. It's time to lock this knowledge directly into your brain so you can absolutely ace that Class 9 chemistry test. Let's do a quick, enthusiastic recap of our journey today. We started at the macro level and defined a molecule as the smallest unit retaining a substance's properties. Then we learned that the chemical bond is the force, that microscopic glue holding it all together. From there, we saw that atoms either use ionic bonds by transferring electrons or covalent bonds by sharing electrons. We also learned that valency dictates an atom's bonding capacity. And finally, we discovered the grand atomic motivation, the Octet Rule. Every single atom is basically just playing the game to reach that stable goal of 8 outer electrons.
Before we wrap up, I've got a bit of a challenge for you. Can you confidently define a molecule? Can you differentiate an ionic bond from a covalent bond using those key action verbs? And can you explain the Octet Rule? If you can answer yes to these questions, congratulations, you have officially mastered today's material. If you found this explainer helpful, please make sure to give it a like, share it with your classmates, and definitely hit that subscribe button for Zaabi Baloch Official so you never miss out on our educational content. Keep questioning the world around you, keep studying hard, and I'll see you in the next one. Allah Hafiz.